I think it's sort of we always had Thursdays, we played together in summer competitions and had friendlies against St George Knights and Richmond team that we know as well, and we had all these friendlies, and we've never really had a team of our own. So every time we versed them, we just got all the people that come to indoor and stuff and went and versed them. And I think the idea was, we talked about it, oh, you know, it would be nice if the church has their own club, it would be nice if we have the church has its own club.
Yeah, and then after that we decided to start our own team, and I think the main point is that we got kicked off. We used to get kicked off, you know, pitches and stuff where we wanted to play. So I think Mina B came up with, Mina B sort of led the idea of creating a soccer club, so we don't get kicked off anymore.
we sat in a room with about 7 or 8 other people. Just started brainstorming. It was so there was Isaac, there was Fob, there was Mina B, Peter Ferris, a couple of other committee members that I can't, think of at the moment. But there was no president at that time. There was nothing established. It was just a couple of the guys.
We didn't even have a name at the time.
Yeah, we had nothing.
Yeah.
We had tried to find a president because myself and Peter Ferris, who were involved in the youth service, I really wanted to focus more on the youth, other parts of the youth service, and have one person who would look after this particular service and help the youth to grow and to mentor the youth. And Fadi's done a fantastic job with that.
Well, I was actually approached by Mina B. He came up to me one day and he said, look, the club really wants a president, and we think you'd be the perfect role for it. And at first I was a bit taken back by it, but I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. But I thought to myself, look, let's just give it a chance. It's an opportunity for me to grow and teach and mentor younger youth as well. So it was a perfect opportunity, and I'm very thankful to God and to Mina B and to the club and to the team.
A fair few hours coming up with just a name. After much voting and cutting down, we got it down to, we tried to think of a group of people from the Bible that can represent. We thought, Warriors, Army would be good, and we decided to go with either St. Mina's Army. It came down to either Gideon's Warriors, because we knew Gideon as a judge on the Bible. It was actually originally Samson's Warriors from memory. Then realised he didn't have Warriors, so we're like, okay, well, let's pick the next one, and it was Gideon. So it was Gideon's Warriors, or St. Stephen's Strikers. Then we thought St. Stephen's Strikers, it might seem like we're the ones holding the rock stoning St. Stephen. So we're like, no.
That didn't work out. And so, like I said, we jumped to the Bible. Eventually, Isaac sort of popped up in his head while he was going through the Bible. Yeah, but it was actually Isaac that eventually came up with the name.
I think I was reading a passage, in the Bible for Gideon, and it quickly hit me, Gideon's Warriors. So I brought it up to the team, and they liked it. So from there, they never.
Same meeting we came up with.
Yeah, it was just that same meeting.
We decided to go with VCFA instead of FFV because there was actually a few underlying sort of reasons behind it. The first was the fact that the matches for FFV are on Sunday. So we thought that it would be better for us to take on the matches are on Saturday, so we can stay committed to church and get the whole team to still attend the masses on Sunday.
We like the fact that the VCFA upheld Christian values and that there was no swearing and so on. So that was the biggest attraction point to it. Whereas the state, there is no regulation, so all the stuff that they do and all the things that they say and stuff. But no, we need something that is to glorify God's name and to make us better Christians at the end of the day.
For us to get into a league, it will then enable us to get a ground. Once we get a ground, it enable us to get a sponsor. Once we get a sponsor, it'll enable us to get the goals, because the ground that we originally had had no goals.
It was an athletics field.
It was an athletics field with shot put bases everywhere. And it was a real struggle. I mean, we were it was all like, it was a domino effect really though, at the end of the day.
We had issues with players rocking up to training sessions towards the end of the season, especially before the big games. Like we had to cancel one training session a week, so we were left with one training session a week.
Out of 22 players, about 3 or 4 would rock up maybe.
Yeah, or confirm, but we'd cancel training.
So I think the leadership group didn't kick in until late during the season, when we realised, you know, player commitment had depreciated a bit, or we sort of struggled with teams during games. Or we, you know, our team morale wasn't high enough. That's when we decided to incorporate a group that would sort of lead the team. And, you know, if anyone had any issues, discrepancies, whatever, they would go to them. It was good for us to actually have a group like that, because I think a lot of the players struggled to sort of voice themselves during gameplay or during training or whatever, and it was good to have that one-on-one where you get a chance to speak to them, bounce ideas off them if you do struggle with the game, or you struggle with fitness or whatever it was.
I get that. Well, we got the digging done at the start of the day. Had to wait a few hours till the concrete guy came, pour the concrete, put the sleeves in. One of the sleeves was put on an angle, not straight, so there was about 10 of us trying to put this goal in and jiggle it side to side. I think this day, if you stand on one end of the field, you look at the goals, you can sort of see one side is like this and one side straight. We have had some interesting photos of people installing the stuff. Minabi had his camera as usual. It was amazing that he captured a lot of moments, but I think
that would be the best technique though.
Yeah, Mina Khalil took a lot more photos of Mina B taking photos than Mina B actually took of us. Yeah, there was a certain incident where we had to transport the massive goals, which we connected inside the club rooms.
But what better way?
We had to go all the way out to the field.
But
so afterwards, we had to.
What better way than through a RAV4?
Had the RAV4, which Mina B was kind enough to drive right onto the field. Had the goals at the roof rack, where people with the doors open, standing up and holding the doors in. Lucky no one died, and I think that was the start of the club. I think it would have been more meaningful, the conversation today, if something bad has happened that day, but thank God, you know, Abana Sataran didn't treat us, you know, I say, according to your mercy, Lord, not according to our intelligence. Was something actually my Sunday school kids said to me. We were having lunch one day after, and they were like, because a lot of them started coming to the games, and you know, one does linesman, one records the games, and one takes photos, and one gets the water and everything. So they all got involved, and we had our own little fan base, more of them. And I think it was something that about 3 of them said at the same time. They said, you know, that Gideon's Warriors Club that you started was the best idea that the youth have had. And I asked, like, we've had a lot of good ideas, why that one? And they said that before we started, we were friends, but the club made us a family. And I fully agree with that statement. And I think that's exactly what it feels like. And I think to the point that it created such a good energy that there are people that I have not seen before, have not met since before the club. Someone like Daniel Mustokli and Carlos Hanna, and these people that I haven't met, they were coming on and feeling the energy, saying, you know what, I want to help out with something, and I want to be assistant coach and come to the trainings and help out, and I want, you know, to do the photography and recording and all this stuff. And it's been a great blessing for all these people and all the work that they've contributed, and you know, God bless them for all the work that they put in.
Just being able to be among the boys every single week, and even training with them if I didn't play during the week, it had like a family feeling to it. Like I felt like we were comfortable with each other. Like we can play game, we can like joke with each other and stuff during training. Maybe, like I remember once we threw David in the pond, in the lake.
I think the happiest, well, one of the happiest moments was our first home game at Cranbourne. It was we anticipated it Like we didn't have any home games for the first 5-6 games. So because the goals were being delayed because we didn't get the money from the sponsors, we didn't get the funding and so forth. But that day, when that day finally came, it was a huge success and we're very thankful. We had a Fiji fundraiser as well that day. We had a huge crowd. We think we were playing Berwick as well.
Yes.
We were playing Berwick and we won 7-2.
And yeah, no, it was a really good win. Saw a couple of like ripper goals. We saw other points in the season where, you know, President Fatty Isaac scored this halfway goal, killed it. We had David Abdul-Malik score a goal from halfway. We had Samuel Karras score a goal from halfway. So yeah, some big goals there. And of course, the biggest goal of all,
Rob's goal.
Biggie Robbie Basu, mate.
Rob's goal.
So Robbie majestically flew in midair, this beautiful bicycle kick. You know, you can watch the replays on the Gideon's page.
Lifting that cup, me personally, me and Yusuf, when we lifted a cup, it was just tremendous feeling, especially after the players ran towards us. It was one of the best moments I've ever experienced as a football player.
I think one of the funniest moments that day was when Abnob was standing next to him. We just got a corner, and so they went to get the ball to take the corner. When Abnob turns around, I was like, you know what I want to see? I want to see a good bicycle kick. And as soon as he said that, the corner comes in and Rob scores his goal, and everyone was like, I called it! And there was actually quite a few of us around that heard it, and we were talking like,
Call of the century.
Abuna, ask for a hat-trick, ask for a hat-trick.
So my name's Jesse, I'm the Vice President of the Association. I had the pleasure of meeting their leadership group at the beginning of this year, and we're in discussions with them at the beginning of this year about them starting up as a club. It gives me immense satisfaction to see them here, about to be presented with this today, because they came to us just with a slick, really good plan. It wasn't just slick that we kind of went, oh, you know, we're kind of in awe of it, but they had a really good plan for the club. It was really, I came out of the meetings with them really excited about what they would be able to do, not just this year, but in the following years. And boys, well done on winning it. The 2014 President's Cup champions. Give me a break.
I'd like to thank God first for allowing this club to be established. I'd like to thank all the committee members, every single person who's put their heart and soul into this club. I'd like to thank the priest of the church. I'd also like to thank Deacon David for all his support and tireless effort into the club and motivating the boys before every game.
I think the biggest achievement, I think that's what we're sort of thinking, is to see, like, the hardest thing is just to start. But once you start, the awesome thing is you don't know how far it will go. And like, you know, I wonder if I'll drive my kids to trainings there one day, you know, and I wonder if the players, the younger players that are in the team now, if they were the ones that will be coaching and they'll be the ones helping, and they're the ones that are, you know, the president and the vice president and the committee and the ones making those decisions for the future. So that's the thing, you kind of start and God blesses and multiplies, and you sort of ride the wave as far as you can.